Hi children, welcome back to Vidhyalakshmi Senior Secondary School's YouTube channel. It's me Irene back again with yet another video for Class 11 Computer Science students. Test yourself with the impossible and you will know your capability. Are we going to test ourselves? Yes, we are going to test ourselves on term and MCQs based on the topic Python fundamentals. In our previous videos, we have learned about Python fundamentals. We have learned about the tokens, keywords, identifiers, literals, operators and punctuators. We have learned about the structure and various components of a Python program. We have learned about variables and assignments, and also we have learned about the simple input and output in a Python program. And based on the topics what we have learned, we are going to see some of the MCQ questions. The first question, it is given as find the valid identifier from the following. Here the options given are none, name, if and 22. So before finding which one is a valid identifier, let us recall all the identifier naming rules. Identifiers are arbitrarily long sequence of letters and numbers. An identifier must begin with the letter. Underscore also counts as a letter. Special symbols are not allowed except underscore. And upper and lower cases are significant, and keywords must not be used as a identifier names. So, based on the rules, we have to find which one is the correct option for us. The first option is given as none. If you see, none is a keyword, so this cannot be the valid identifier of Python. The second option is given as name. If you see this, it doesn't begin with a number, or it is not a keyword, or it does not have any special symbol also in it. So, this is the valid identifier of Python. If you see the option C, this is the keyword of Python. So, this cannot be the valid identifier of Python. If you see the option D, it is an integer literal. So, this cannot be the valid identifier of Python. So, our answer is going to be the option B, name. So, option B, name is the answer for the first question. Let us move on to the next question. If you see here, it is given as find the output. We have to find the output of the given code segment. Here there are two statements given. The first statement is an assignment statement. It is assigned with a string value, right? And the second statement, it finds the length of the object yes. Here the function, built-in function len is used and it finds the length of the object yes. So, whenever we find the length of the object, we used to count the number of elements present in it. So, according to that, if you count the number of elements in it, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There are 6 elements in it. That's why the answer is going to be the option C, 6. So, let us see the answer. The answer is going to be the option C and 6. Let us move on to the next question. Find the invalid identifier from the following. We have to find the invalid identifier. We have already learned what are the identifier naming rules. Now, based on that, we will find which one is the invalid identifier from the following. So, here the options given are age, mark 1, first underscore name and hash 10. So, if you see the first option, it does not begin with the number. It does not have any special symbols. It is also not a keyword. So, according to that, this is the valid identifier of Python, but we have to find which one is the invalid one. So, this is not the invalid one. And if you see the option B, it is given as mark. This has a letter as well as number, but it does not begin with a number. And it does not have any special symbols and it is not a keyword also. So, this is also the valid identifier. So, according to the question given here, this is not the invalid identifier. This is the valid one. Both are valid ones. And if you see the option C, it is given as first underscore name. Here we have used the special symbol underscore, but underscore is accepted as the identifier, right? So, we can just say this as a correct valid identifier, and it does not begin with a number. It is not a keyword also. So, this is also the valid identifier, but according to the question we have to find the invalid identifier. So, this is not the invalid identifier. If you see the last option, it is just beginning with the hash symbol. It is a special symbol symbols are not allowed as the identifier names. So this becomes the invalid identifier according to the question. So our answer is going to be the option D #10. So let us move on to the next question. Here, find the size of an object S is given. So we have to find the size of the object S. Here, the object S is a variable. It is assigned with a string value \A, \B and \C. So normally when we have to find the size of the objects, we used to count the number of elements. Suppose if we count the number of elements in it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 elements in it. So we cannot say the answer is 6 because whenever in a string literal, if a letter begins with the \, we have to see what is the letter followed by \. If the letter followed by \, and \, together, if it comes under the category of an escape sequence, then both the characters together will be considered as one character. That's why according to that, if you see the \, and the next character A, it comes under the category of an escape sequence. It is an escape sequence for audible bell. So the \, and A will be together, it will be considered as one character. So let us see the next character. So that is also \, followed by we have a character called B. So \, and B together, if you see, this is an escape sequence for the backspace. So this \, and B also will be considered as one character. And followed by we have \, and there is a letter \C. If you see \, and C, we do not have any other escape sequence such as \C. So we have to count the \, separately and the character C separately. So according to that, if we count \A will be number 1, \B will be number 2, and then the \, will be number 3, and the character C will be number 4. So according to that, our option is going to be the option B, number 4. So the correct answer is going to be option B and number 4. Let us move on to the next question. The next question is, what is the written type of the input function? So input function is used to read the user input interactively from the user. This is a built-in function of Python. So this built-in function, whenever we read any input, it always returns the value of a string type. So our option is going to be option A. But here options given are string, integer, list and tuple. Among this, our correct answer is going to be the option A and string. Let us move on to the next question. The question is, identify the valid unary operator of Python. So there are some operators given. From this we have to find which one is the valid unary operator of Python. So you must know we have unary operators and binary operators. Unary operators are the operators which work upon only one operand, and binary operators are the operators which work upon two operands. So according to that, if you see the first operator, this is the modulus symbol. This is an arithmetic operator. This operator, before and after the modulus symbol, it requires two operands. So this is going to be the binary operator. This is not the valid unary operator. So this is not the correct answer. And if you see option B, the equal to symbol is given. This is an assignment operator. The assignment operator also, before and after the assignment operator, it requires two operands to work upon. So this is also going to be the binary operator. So this is not the correct answer for us. And if you see option C, it is given as in. In is a membership operator. This membership operator also, before and after the membership operator, it requires two operands to operate upon. That's why this is not going to be the correct option for us. And option D is given as minus, that is unary minus. This unary minus works upon only one operand. That's why our correct answer is going to be the option D, unary minus, because we have to find the valid unary operator. So according to that, our option is going to be the option D, unary minus. So the answer is option D, minus, unary minus. Let us move on to the next question. That is, Identify the valid binary operator of a Python. Now we have to identify the valid binary operator of a Python. Already we have learned binary operators, they work upon two operands, right? So according to that, first operator, if you see, it is an exponent operator. This is an arithmetic operator. So this arithmetic operator, before and after this exponent symbol, it needs two operands. That's why this is the valid binary operator. If you see the option B, it is not, right? Not is a logical operator, but it works upon only one operand. So this is not going to be the valid binary operator. And we have a bitwise complement operator. This operator also works upon only one operand. So this is not going to be the correct option for us. Even unary minus also, it works upon only one operand. So this is not going to be the binary operator. So this is also the wrong option. Our answer is going to be the option A, the exponent symbol. Now let us move on to the next question, which is which of the following symbol is used in Python for comments? So before seeing the options, let us see what are comments. Comments are the additional readable information given to the programmer by the program. And in Python, we have three types of comments. One is single line comment, inline comment and multi-line comments. Single line comments always begin with the hash symbol. Even multi-line comments also, they can begin all the multiple lines. If they begin with a hash symbol, they are also referred as multi-line comments. And even inline comment also, it begins with the hash symbol. And the multi-line comments, they start and end with the triple quoted strings. So these are the comments present in Python. So according to that, if you see all these options, the first option is given as @ symbol, second option is and symbol, third option is hash symbol, and fourth option is double forward slashes. So our answer is going to be the option C, the hash symbol. So let us see our answer. It is option C, the hash symbol. Now let us move on to the next question. Identify the valid integer literal in decimal form. We have to identify among these options which one is the valid integer literal in decimal form. When it comes to Python, it has the integer literals. The integer literals can be represented in a decimal form, octal form and hexadecimal form. When it comes to the decimal form, integer literal in decimal form always begins with the numbers between 1 and 9. So, if a number begins with the numbers 1 and 9, then that number is treated as the integer literal in decimal form. So, let us go on for these options. Here the first option begins with 0, right? So, this is not going to be the valid integer literal in decimal form. Second option, if you see, that also it begins with 0. So, this is not going to be the valid integer literal in decimal form. Third option also it begins with 0 followed by there is a letter O. So, this is also not going to be the valid integer literal in decimal form. So, the valid integer literal in decimal form is going to be number 45 because it begins with the numbers between 1 and 9. So, this is going to be the valid integer literal in decimal form. So, our correct option is option D, number 45. The next question, identify the valid integer literal in octal form. The octal form always begins with the number 0 followed by the letter O and followed by any valid combination of numbers between 0 and 7. Then it can be the valid octal number. And if you see the first option, it begins with the number 0 followed by there is a letter O followed by we have two numbers. So these two numbers are between the range of 0 and 7. So this is going to be the valid integer literal in octal form. If you see the option B, it starts with the number 0 followed by there is a letter O followed by again it has got some other letters also. So, this is not going to be the valid integer literal in octal form. And the next option, if you see, it starts with 0 followed by the letter O and followed by, if you see the number 9, it is not between the range of 0 and 7. So, this is going to be the invalid integer literal in octal form. If you see option D, it starts with the number 0 followed by the letter O, followed by we have 7 and 8. This digit 7 is between the range of 0 and 7. So this is correct. And if you see the next digit, it does not come under the range of 0 and 7. So that's why this is also going to be the invalid integer literal in octal form. So our option is going to be option A, 0, O, 4 and 5. Let us move on to the next question. Escape sequences are treated as dash and the options given are integers, strings, lists and tuples. Always the escape sequences are treated as strings. So our answer is going to be option B, strings. So you can see the correct answer is option B, strings. Let us move on to the next question. Identify the valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. We have to identify which one is a valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. The integer literal in hexadecimal form always begins with the number 0 followed by the letter X followed by any valid combination of numbers between 0 and 9 and A to F. If we have, that is going to be the valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. So according to that, if you see the first option, it begins with the number 0 followed by there is a letter X. Followed by we have got some more letters. If you see the first letter H, it is not coming under the category of A and F, right? A to F. This character H is not between A to F. So this is not going to be the valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. The second option, it starts with the number 0 followed by there is a letter X and followed by the number 9. It is between the range of 0 and 9. And number 2 also between the range of 0 and 9. If you see the character K, it is not between the characters between A and F. So this is also not going to be the valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. If you see the option C, it begins with the number 0 followed by, it should have a letter X but it has a letter as H. So this is not going to be the valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. If you see the option D, it begins with the number 0 followed by the letter X and followed by we have 8. This is between the range of 0 and 9. And again we have a number 2. This is also between the range of 0 and 9. And we have a character called A. This is also between the range of A and F. So this is going to be the valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. So our correct option is option D, 0x8 to A. This is a valid integer literal in hexadecimal form. Now let us move on to the next question, that is identify the valid floating point literal in exponent form. So we have to identify which one is the valid floating point literal in exponent form. So the exponent form consists of two parts. First part is the mantissa and second part is the exponent. So the mantissa part will be of a fractional number. The exponent form will be of the letter E and followed by any positive or negative integers. So according to that, if you see the first option, here the first part is mantissa and the second part is exponent. The mantissa part is the real number or the fractional number, we can say 90.23. This is in a correct form. And the second form also, it is the exponent form. It starts with the letter E followed by there is an integer value, that is negative integer value is given. So this is going to be the valid floating point literal in exponent form. If you see option B, it is, there are two parts as 9.22 and then next part is given as exp02, like that it is given, but the exponent form must have a letter E but it has some more letters also in it. So this cannot be the valid floating point literal in exponent form. And if you see the option C, here it is given as 238.5 and this is the floating point literal in fractional form. So this is not going to be the floating point literal in exponent form. Here if it is in an exponent form, the letter E followed by an integer number, positive or integer number has to be specified. But here there are no exponent parts specified. That's why this is also going to be the invalid floating point literal in exponent form. If you see option D, there is a comma in it. So we cannot consider this as an floating point integer literal in exponent form. So the correct option is going to be option A, 90.23 E minus 02. So this is going to be the correct answer for this question. Let us move on to the next question. Select the valid escape sequence to print single quote. So we have to select which one is the valid escape sequence. Now let us see what are escape sequences. To represent the non-graphic characters, we use the escape sequences. The non-graphic characters are the characters that cannot be typed directly from the keyboard. So to represent all the non-graphic characters, we have some symbols called escape sequences. All the escape sequences, they begin with the backslash. So backslash followed by, it can have one or more characters in it. So let us see the first escape sequence. Double backslash and single quote is given. Though I have said the escape sequences are used to represent the non-graphic characters. The non-graphic characters are the characters that cannot be directly typed from the keyboard. So some characters, they can be directly typed from the keyboard. For those characters also we have escape sequences because they have some special meanings when they are used with the literals, right? So for those reasons, for single quote, double quote and for backslash, we have the escape sequences also. So according to that, the first escape sequence is given as double backslash and single quote. Here, this double backslash will be executed and it will be printing a backslash. So this is not the escape sequence for the single quote. So the double backslash will be considered as an escape sequence for backslash. So this is not going to be the valid escape sequence to print the single quote. And here only single quote is given, but as a escape sequence it should begin with the backslash. So this is also not going to be the valid escape sequence to print the single quote. And if you see here, backslash and single quote is given. This is the valid escape sequence to print the single quote. And here single quote is given as the letters. So this is not going to be the valid escape sequence to print the single quote. So our correct option is going to be option C, backslash and single quote. Now let us move on to the next question, which is identify the valid keyword of Python. Python provides a lot of keywords and all the keywords are in a form of lowercase letters except three keywords: none, true and false. Their first letters alone will be of capital letters. So according to that, let us see which one is the correct and valid keyword of Python. Here the first keyword is given as and. Here all are in uppercase letters. We do not have any keyword in uppercase letters. So this is going to be the invalid keyword of Python. And the second keyword is given as else if. We do not have any keywords such as else if, but we do have elif. So this is also going to be the invalid keyword of Python. The next option is given as except. We have a keyword called except. So this is going to be the correct option for this question. And we have a keyword called for. We have a keyword but it begins with the lowercase letter. So but it begins with the uppercase letter. That's why this also becomes the invalid keyword of Python. So our option is going to be option C, except. Option C, except is the correct answer for us. Now let us move on to the next question, which is question 16. Identify the valid logical operator of Python. So Python provides three logical operators. They are not, and or. So they will be in a form of letters only. So here if you see the first option, it is given as double and symbol. This is not the valid logical operator of Python. And next one, it is given as double pipe symbols. So this is also not the valid logical operator of Python. The option C is given as not. Not is the valid logical operator of Python. So this is going to be the correct option. And option D is given as the exclamatory sign. This is also not going to be the valid logical operator of Python. So our answer is going to be option C, not. So this is the correct answer. Now let us move on to the next question. Identify the valid string literal of Python. We have to identify the valid string literal among the given options. In a Python programming, the string literals will be surrounded within quotes. It may be surrounded within single quote or double quote or triple quotes. And one more thing, if it starts with the single quote, it must end with a single quote. And if it begins with the double quote, and it should end with the double quote. And if it begins with the triple quotes, then it must end with the triple quotes. So this is the rule of the string literals. If you see the first option, the option A, it begins with a single quote, but it ends with a double quote. So this is not going to be the correct option for us. Option B is not surrounded within any of the quotes. So this is also not going to be the correct option for us. And option C, it starts with the double quotes and it ends with the double quotes. So this is going to be the correct option for us. And option D starts with a double quote but it ends with a single quote. So this is not going to be the correct option for us. So the valid string literal of Python among these options are option C, which is within double quotes 1, 2, 3, 4 ABC. So within double quotes 1, 2, 3, 4 ABC. So the string literal must start and end with the same kind of quotes. If it starts with a single quote, it must end with a single quote. If it starts with the double quotes, it must end with the double quotes. Right? So let us move on to the next question. Find the equivalent floating point literal in exponent form. Here the floating point literal is given as 0.782378. So now this is the floating point literal in fractional form. When we have to convert it into exponent form, we have to represent it in powers of 10. So if you move the decimal point towards the left direction, always we represent in positive powers of 10. Suppose if you move the decimal point towards the right direction, we always represent it in negative powers of 10. So according to that, we will just go through all these options. Let us find which one is the correct option in an exponent form. So the first number, if we consider, the original number is 0.782378. Here if you see this point, right, this point, from the original point, it has moved 2 digits. From the original point, actually the dot was here before and it has moved 2 digits towards the right hand side. So in which power we have to represent? In negative powers of 10 we have to represent. But if you see in the exponent part, it is represented as positive powers of 10. So 2 digits we have moved towards the right. So we have to express it as e minus 2, but here it is represented as e2. So this is not going to be the equivalent number. And if you see the next option, 78.237 is given. In this also from the original place, this is the original place where the decimal point is there. From the original place, 2 digits, the decimal point has been moved towards the right direction. So as it has been moved toward the right direction, here 2 digits in negative powers it has been represented. So this is going to be the correct option. So this number and this number are going to be the equivalent one. If you see option C, here from the original number, 1 digit, the decimal point has been moved towards the right direction. So we would have represented it as e minus 1, but here it is represented as e minus 2. So that's why this is going to be the incorrect one. And if you see option D, here as the same as the original number, here the decimal pointer is in the same place, but here it is represented in e minus 2. So this is also going to be the incorrect form of the exponent form. So which one is going to be the correct option for us? Option B is going to be the correct option for us, which is 78.2378 e minus 2 is equivalent to 0.782378. So this is the correct answer for us. Now let us move on to the next question. Find the equivalent floating point literal in fractional form. Here the number is given as 52.623 E3. If you see, it has two parts. The first part is referred as mantissa and the second part is referred as exponent. The mantissa part will be always of the real numbers. If you see the exponent part, it starts with the letter E followed by positive or negative integers it used to have. Here it has the exponent part as E3, so which is equivalent to 10 power 3. Now let us start our calculation. If you see 52.623 and we will represent E3 as multiplied by 10 power 3. Let us calculate this. We will be getting 52623 and then for this 10 power 3 we will be adding 3 more zeros. In the original number, if you see, the decimal point is before 3 digits from the right hand side. So let us also from the right hand side, before 3 digits we will keep the decimal pointer. So if you see, the number can be 52,623.0. According to the given options here, the option D gets the correct form what we have calculated as. So our answer is going to be option D, 52,623.0. So this is how we find the equivalent floating point numbers in fractional form or in an exponent form. Let us move on to the next question. What is the default value of the sep argument of the print function? We know that the print function is used to print anything on the screen. It has got two optional arguments. One is sep and another one is end. The sep argument's default value is space and the end argument's default value is the new line character or /n. So according to that, option C is going to be the correct answer for us. So option C is the correct answer. So we have come to the end of this session. I'll meet you again with a lot more MCQs and videos. Until then, bye from Irene. Thank you.